Do you ever feel like you're gonna be alone forever? Like you're never gonna meet the one, quote unquote. And you're not even sure if you believe that there is someone out there for you. The one that you're meant to be with. The epic love that all these romantic songs and movies and shows and books try to tell you about. The fairy tale we grew up with watching Disney movies and anime. You might have tried and tried to. What if I tell you that whatever you believe in, all I'm gonna say about it is don't worry about it. You might think that you're missing out if you don't put yourself out there. That somehow you have to spend a lot of time going on multiple dates just to find the one because you fear that if you stop looking or you stop putting yourself out there, then love will never find you. You'll end up alone forever. But instead of looking for the one, how about we think about what we can bring that one person? How about we look inwards? Are we the best version of ourselves? Are we willing to serve the ones we love? How much are we willing to sacrifice for the other person? Or is it more about me, me, me? Do you want to be in a relationship because you want to be loved? You want to feel special? And you don't want to feel alone, like nobody cares for you? Are you ready to enter a relationship with your best foot forward? Not just best intentions that'll last a few months, but actually the desire to be better every single day of your life. Sometimes we are so busy trying to find the one that we lose sight of the fact that we're not even ready to be the one for them. We have not addressed our own flaws, our own baggage, and we just keep entering relationships after relationships wondering why we always end up alone, why these relationships never last. What is wrong with these people? Don't they see that I am wonderful? It's easy to become bitter and resentful and think that you are deserving of someone great to love you back. Sometimes it's hard to see that we take the baggage of each failed relationship into the next one. Sometimes we've been hurt so many times that it's hard to trust another person. So we try to protect ourselves and possibly sabotage the current relationship we're in. Some people might think that romantic relationships, or even relationships in general, shouldn't take work. It shouldn't feel like work. It shouldn't be hard. Well, I tend to believe that anything worthwhile takes work. So just like how I'm willing to work hard for a goal, I am also willing to work hard for my relationships in general. I'm going to tell you about my relationships to illustrate this point. And we're going to name each person based on a letter grade I would give our level of communication at the time. My first girlfriend would be C. Between B and A was a 5-year gap where I was single, I focused on myself, I didn't pursue any relationships, and I made a deal with God after B. I told God it is impossible for me to find a person to be with because I need a trifecta of things. 1, she needs to be a Christian after God's own heart. 2, she needs to be scientific minded. 3, she needs to be a lesbian. This trifecta is my preference. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's just what I wanted out of a partner. I just wanted us to have the same values. C was my first relationship that lasted 3 years. We met in college. We had all our relationship firsts together, and she was wonderful. It was just that even though she was raised Catholic, every time I would talk about God, she would look at me funny. B was a whirlwind romance that seemed to be tailored after the love songs and romantic movies we are exposed to all of the time. It was intense, and it made the first one look like puppy love. I would consider this one my first love in the grand scheme of things. She was amazing. I resolved to do better this time around and communicate my feelings more. But she's also Catholic. And even though she tried really hard to reconnect with God, her faith wasn't in the same place as mine was. She didn't believe in certain parts of the Bible. And in the end, as amazing as it was, we didn't hold the same values. And that relationship just broke me, shattered me to pieces. I actually cried for the very first time in 8 years over her. I was down on my knees, praying, every single day. I read the whole Bible in just a few months over that ordeal. And I learned a lot. And I told God that I was done. I didn't like dating, so I never bothered, because I wasn't interested all that much. During that time, God told me that the only reason people get divorced is because people are so intent on deciding who they end up with, incessantly looking for the one all by themselves. They put all their effort into that one goal, that even though they end up getting married, sometimes it doesn't last by sheer human will alone. So I told God, if He wanted me to marry someone, He would have to send me that person all by Himself. I am not going to seek her out in any way. I was single and celibate for 5 years because I don't engage in casual sex. I didn't trust myself to be smart enough to know who I want to be with forever. I can't tell you who I will be decades from now, and I can't tell you that the person I choose to end up with, choose to marry, would be the exact same person, or even if they change, that they would be the person that we could be with forever. Only God could tell us that. So if God sends me a person whom He made especially for me, then I can go into that relationship with confidence. And when we get married, there's no room for divorce. Because even if we hated each other's guts every single day and were miserable, I would know without a shadow of doubt that she's the one for me. There is no one else out there for me. God sent me this specific person to be with for the rest of my life. So I better cherish her and fight for her, fight for us, and make sure that we work on being the best versions of ourselves every single day, because that's it. There's no one else. And of course, there's death. I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure if one of us died before the other, God would send another person, because God's planned every single second of our lives. So A came as a complete surprise. She's everything B was, but so much more. We complement each other so well. Her weaknesses are my strengths, and my weaknesses are her strengths. And our communication level is A compared to the rest, with room for improvement, of course, because we have to improve ourselves every single day until the day we die. But I trust her completely, and she makes me feel absolutely safe. She's a woman after God's own heart, and it's creepy how similar we are, and how our values align, and how we have a healthy amount of differences so that we're not actually dating ourselves. Can you imagine dating yourself? That would be a nightmare, at least for me. I would not want to date myself. So thank God we have a healthy amount of similarities and a healthy amount of differences, which is amazing. And as amazing as she is, our relationship still takes work. But at least the trifecta has been met. She's a woman after God's own heart, scientific-minded, and a lesbian. And of course, the attraction is off the charts. That's important. So, this is my testimony and what God has done in my life. And I encourage you today, give your worries up to God and tell Him everything that's going on in your mind, all your fears and worries. And then wait and listen to what He has to tell you about how you should live your life according to His will. Because instead of worrying about things you can't control, sometimes it's best to work on yourself. You might not be able to change the world by sheer will alone, but you can, with the help of God, change yourself for the better. And if you're wondering how I met my girlfriend, check out this video here.